Hey guys, today we're going to be doing the best and worst paranormal experience. I'm actually going to be doing this in story form because I figure if I didn't tell you the whole story behind it, I wouldn't be really giving you all the information. I will be doing 3 worst and 3 best, so altogether 6. Woo, 6. So I guess I should really get started on this because a lot of people have been asking me to actually do this one, but I've been busy doing tags lately. So I guess it's about time to be telling you some paranormal stories that I've encountered and been through. So I will tell you a worst one first. So about maybe a year or two ago, my grandfather was heading to Helena to get his eye surgery because he wasn't able to see out of it. And if you guys know, along really long trips, around every 30 to 40 miles, there's a rest stop, which is just pretty much bathrooms and like walking areas, picnic tables, garbage cans. Well, the building is pretty much just brick and the floor is cement, so my mother and I were in the ladies' room and we were just doing our business. And as you know, it has the 3 regular stalls and then the handicap stall. Well, my mother and I were in, uh, we were each in a regular one, but there was one stall empty between us because I guess it's kind of like a woman code to leave one, you know, unused. Well, as we were doing our business, of course. My mother got done before me and she was washing her hands in the sink, and I was busy trying to pull up my skinny jeans because you know how hard those can be to pull up, girls. Well, during the time that I was pulling up my pants, we heard the door open when we were actually going bathroom, but there was no footsteps, which was really weird because the floor is cement, and if you walk on cement, you get the little thud, 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 thud as you walk. Well, we didn't hear that, so we figured it was like the wind because of drafts, the doors on the side with the walls. So we figured it was a draft, but apparently it wasn't, so. Well, as she was washing her hands and I was trying to pull on my skinny jeans, as I was saying, the toilet between our stalls actually flushed by itself. And before any of you are like, oh, well, it was probably an automatic toilet. This is a rest stop. The rest stop has the ones where you actually have to push down for so long to get it flush. And those ones are always like the ones that make you really nervous that it's not going to flush at all. But this thing just literally just like the loudest flush necessary. And of course, at that time, my mother freaked out and ran out of the of the bathroom, leaving me stuck in there by myself with whatever was flushing the toilet. Well, as I got my pants up and I was running towards the door, my mom was holding it shut 'cause she was freaked out on the other side. The bathroom stall actually opened and like nothing was there besides the toilet flushing, and I literally had a panic attack. It was like so scary, and till this day, it's one of those stories that me and my mom are just like, we don't really want to go into a restroom area really if it's like one of the ones outside because it's like really scary to us. Uh, and I think the reason it's really scary is because when you're in a bathroom, you feel so vulnerable compared to like if you were in a store, in a building, etc. But yeah, it's just that vulnerable feeling of like you either have your pants down, you're naked, or you're just, in the bathroom doing what you're doing. So that's one of my worst stories, the one that really scared me because I was maybe like 13, 14, and I was stuck in there by myself. So now we're getting to one of the best ones I've had. So as you guys might have known, as I said in my Get to Know Me video, I do believe, my grandmother is my best friend. And when I was around 15, she passed away. She was in the hospital when she passed away, but before that, I ended up sharing this room with her for 3 to 4 months. I had my waterbed pushed against the wall. We had a stand between us and a regular bed on the other side because she was really sick and she needed someone to watch her. Well, throughout the time, me and her had really gotten really close, and like She ended up going to the hospital because she was low on oxygen, she didn't feel good, and things like that. You know, the signs that you need to go. Well, the night before her death, I have insomnia, so I don't sleep very well. I was ending up walking towards my kitchen, and like in the living room, I saw smoke, and my grandma was a really big smoker. And at first, I thought nothing of it because maybe, like, it was just we burn incense and things like that. But it wasn't an incense because from the corner of my eye, I actually saw her sitting on the couch staring at me as she smoked. But I was like, at that time, kind of like half asleep because I finally had fallen asleep. And I didn't think anything of it until the next morning when my mother told me that my grandma had passed away that night. Um, the reason it's one of my best experiences is because I think it was more of a reason that she's like, I'm okay, I crossed over, I'm here still, don't forget me, because I think I saw her for a reason, and like I do believe she showed herself to me because we were really close, and like I was really worried about her throughout the whole thing. But yeah, that was like one of my best experiences because I look back at that and it's like I know she's safe and happy. So another horrible paranormal experience is also in the bathroom because apparently I have issues with bathrooms. Who knew, right? Bathrooms are my worst nightmare. Maybe that's why I can't use public restrooms, but anyways, back to the story. Um, this was actually taking place in my own home. I was showering one night and I was just showering and I have a stereo in the bathroom that lights up blue when it's on and when it's off it turns a white color. Well, I was just showering and I had water in my face and things like that. And by the way, after this, I cannot take showers. I bathe all the time. Showers are not for me. I was just showering, and then all of a sudden the music stopped, which was really weird. So I thought, maybe the radio station went off or something. Well, when I stuck my head out of the shower, the whole stereo was pretty much just off. Like somebody actually had to have pushed the button to make it to go off. And at that moment of time when I was staring at it, I heard a really unhuman growl, and it was like right behind me in the shower. And like at that point in time, I really freaked out and whirled around, and I ended up grabbing the shower curtains and pulling it down with me. And I was like so terrified, and at that point of time, I knew there was something in my house that was not friendly. And not to mention, like, not even like a few seconds later, one of the light bulbs out of the lights on the top had actually fallen off and shattered on the ground. And right when the light bulb hit the ground, the stereo had popped back on to my music, and the volume was up way louder than what it was before. After that time of with the bath and the shower, I have issues with wanting to be in the shower by myself. If I'm showering and I have to shower because there's actually no like bath, I will literally just jump in, quickly do what I have to do and jump out, and I won't even close the curtains because I am terrified of showers. Like completely, utterly terrified. And that is another one of my really scary stories and reasons of why I can't do things in life. So I've told you 2 worst ones and 1 best one. So now I'll get on to the second best one. I think the second best one is more just humorous because it was the first time that my father actually kind of admitted to me that he's seen things as well. We were at the VA, which is where we took my grandfather to get his eyes done, but he had his knee done as well. We were sitting in the room with all the, veterans and all that. They're sitting there waiting for their appointments and that. And as we were just staring at the TV that they had, which had news on, because they always apparently has news on at any doctor office I've ever been to, this head just came out of the wall and kind of just went like that, like it was looking at something. And at that exact moment, my dad turned to me and he's like, "Did you just see that?" And of course, I'm like, "Yeah, the floating head that just popped out of the wall." And at that moment of time, my dad turned the palest possible. And then he was like, this is not the first time I've ever seen anything. I've seen your grandmother, I've seen other things. And at that point in time, I didn't really feel afraid anymore because I knew I wasn't really alone, as like I thought I truly was with seeing things and being able to hear and communicate with them. But I think that's more of like the best story because I figured out I wasn't alone. And I was probably around 12, 13 at that point of time. And with the shower one, I was about 17, which was last year. So I'm like, it's one of those really vivid ones. So that's 2 and 2. I just did 3 on this. So we're going to do the third and last of my worst ones. My third one was actually out in public. I was heading towards a park to meet up with one of my friends who was going to give me a ride to his house, and we were just going to hang out and watch movies and things like that. Well, on the way towards the park, I ended up seeing this like shadowy figure next to a light post. And let me tell you, this was kind of during dusk day area. It was still kind of light but kind of darkish out, like when it's about the sunset is hitting and it's like gone but it's still kind of there. Well, I was walking towards the park, which is like 3 blocks away from my house, and I ended up seeing this shadowy figure just kind of standing next to a light post. So I was like getting really nervous inside because I felt like something was wrong. You know the feeling you get when you're like the heavy feeling, you're like, okay, I should not be doing this. Well, when I got really close to the area where the post was, I didn't see the figure at all, and I was like freaking out. So I just kept on walking because I was like, I'm just gonna get to that park. That park is my destination. So I got like one more block down, which was on the second block, and I only had one more block to go for the park. And the figure was at the end of that block again, which was completely impossible because I'd been watching them the entire time. And like this was just like really scary to me because like he has like this hat on and his head was kind of turned down, and it was like he was just waiting for me to pass him. But every time I kind of got close, he was not there anymore, and I'd be searching around and looking behind me because it was like, okay, I just saw him, where did he go? As I got to the last block on the park, I was literally stepping onto the park grass when I turned around, and he was not even maybe like 2 feet away from me and just staring at me. And this guy was just like a really creepy, like had a really creepy atmosphere, and his hat was covering his eyes, and like he was just kind of staring at me. And at that moment of time, I literally just bolted it towards my friend's car, who didn't see anything, by the way, which made me feel like I was a complete lunatic at that point in time. Even till this day, I see this guy just randomly. I've seen him under my desk, which I have that picture, and I will end up putting it in somewhere in one of the next videos of paranormal, investigation stuff. I've seen him in the bathroom, which is why I think he might have been kind of the one that growled at me. And my dad has seen him in their bedroom, which really scared him. I kind of think that he got attached to me somehow, and I don't know if he's evil or if he just noticed that I could see him and he's just like, hey, pay attention to me. But it's one of those ones that it really bothers me, and every time I actually have a friend stay over, I tell them about this because I really don't want them to be like waking up in the middle of the night and seeing some creepy guy with a hat. And I know that some of these sound kind of like really off and things like that, but it's actually things I have actually seen, and I know that not everyone is going to believe this, but it was really real to me, and I know there's non-believers out there, and that doesn't bother me. I just hope that one day, they will, maybe see something themselves, or, become more open towards the spiritual world, I guess, is what I would like to say. And now I only have one more best story, which I did 3 of each because I don't really categorize them as worst, best, horrible, scariest, because I think each one has its own little, traits. So one of the other best one is I was doing Black Friday with my mother, You know, the thing that, if you guys don't know what Black Friday is, it's a day after Thanksgiving where everything goes on sale, and it's like a crazy deal where like they have such discounts that everyone's like at stores at midnight running for their lives, grabbing things and putting them in their cart. Well, I think this was about 2 years ago. I was with my mother at Cabela's because we were getting my brother and my father something from there. Um, of course, it was really early, so I was like talking to my mother, and we were just kind of laughing about how ridiculous it was being up this early. It's snowing, it's cold, it's Montana, it's freezing. So we were just sitting there in our car because we're not getting out yet until we see the doors open, and we figured no one's gonna grab that cotton candy machine maker at Cabela's because it's all hunting, fishing gear. So we were just sitting there, and out of nowhere, I got the urge to look up into the rearview mirror. And when I looked up into the rearview mirror, I noticed a little girl in the back seat. She had her hair up to like right here. It was in braids. She was wearing an older looking dress, and she was just staring right at me. And at that moment of time, I had turned to my mother, and she looked at me and she's like, "Rissa, don't say a thing. I don't want to know." And like at that time, I was freaking out because I recognized her right away. If you had watched my other videos, you would know of my friend that had got ran over, and she passed away when she was like 5 or 6. So it looked exactly like her, and at that moment of time, I was so scared. But then me and my mom always joke about it now, about how she's probably with us doing girly things because she is probably, wanting to do those things because she's still a girl. She's still, she thinks she's a little girl, and she probably thinks she's still alive. And for those people who want to know, yes, I've actually tried to help her cross over, but from this time, I think she does cross over, but she comes back because randomly I will see things moving, electronics in my house go off, like the coffee machine, the TV turns on to the loudest, radios go off for no reason, lights flicker with new light bulbs, batteries drain out of nowhere, and just like everything. And I think she just likes to play with us. She's a little girl. She wants to have fun. She's pretty witty, to be honest. She's knocked things off of my shelf all the time and things like that. So I think that's all the stories that I can really tell you. Of course, I have more, which will be for later. But I don't want to tell you them all right away because it wouldn't be as fun. So the next videos I have to do is pretty much like people wanted the no mirror makeup challenge or something like that. Room tag Chubby Bunny, and I will be talking about how to get rid of spirits, evil spirits, because I don't really like saying to get rid of regular spirits because they can be of your grandparents, brothers, sisters, parents, things like that. So, until next time, keep spooky.